Um, so last week there was this guy in India who literally got a visit from the police.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And his crime, he took his golden retriever to the Kedarnath shrine.
You're kidding. A golden retriever.
Yeah, it's just a regular pet. But just bringing the dog near the temple got him slapped with this official legal complaint, which is wild because, if you rewind a few thousand years in that exact same religion, a stray dog was literally handed the keys to heaven.
Right. The irony there is just massive. I mean, you're looking at a culture that essentially pulls you in two totally opposite directions when it comes to dogs. You just can't put them in a neat little box.
You really can't. So today's mission for this deep dive is to look through this huge stack of sources on ancient Hindu mythology, and we're going to try to figure out this paradox. Like, we want to see how man's best friend actually fits into these really ancient spiritual texts.
Yeah, and the sources show this huge split right away. On one side, you have dogs as these fierce protectors, right? They're loyal companions to the gods. But then on the other side, they're used as symbols of impurity or death or like human attachment. And you often see them set up in this direct contrast to the cow.
Which is, universally treated as pure and holy.
Exactly. Completely holy. So to really get why this split exists, we kind of need to go straight to the oldest text we have, which is the Rig Veda.
Okay.
And this text introduces us to Sarama. She's explicitly called the female dog of the gods.
So wait, what does a cosmic dog actually do? Like, is she fighting demons?
Well, no, she works. She's a pathfinder.
Oh.
Yeah. So the lore says these demons, they're called the Panis, they stole the cosmic cows of heaven and they hid them in this cave across a mystical river.
Right, of course. Always stealing the cosmic cows.
Naturally. But Lord Indra, who's the king of the gods, he doesn't send a massive army to fight them. He just sends Sarama.
Because she can track them by scent.
Exactly. She tracks them all the way across this cosmic river. She finds the cave and she just confronts the demons right there.
Just a dog showing up at the demon hideout.
Yeah. And the Panis, they actually try to bribe her. They offer her a share of the stolen wealth if she just keeps quiet and walks away.
Wow.
But she rejects the bribes completely. She goes straight back to Indra and tells him exactly where the cows are. So she earns this title of Pathfinder because she literally couldn't be bought.
See, that's like the baseline definition of loyalty right there.
Yeah.
And sources also mention she has this huge biological footprint in the mythology.
Oh, yeah. The Puranas.
Right, which are basically these massive ancient encyclopedias of Hindu lore. According to them, Sarama is the mother of all clawed animals. So like lions, tigers, wolves, they all trace their lineage straight back to her.
Yeah, and she also passed down a pretty serious temper, too.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. There's this one story involving King Janmejaya. He was performing a yajna.
That's the fire ritual, right?
Right. It's this massive, highly specific fire ritual where you make offerings to the gods. So during this ritual, the king's brothers see Sarama's puppies just kind of wandering around the area.
Okay.
Yeah. They assume the pups are licking the milk pots and making everything impure, so they actually throw stones at them and beat them.
Are you serious? They attack the puppies of the mother of all predators.
Bad move. Huge mistake. Sarama shows up completely furious, and she just curses the entire ritual to fail.
Wow.
Yeah, the gods abandon the yajna entirely. It basically shows that you don't mess with these creatures without facing some serious cosmic consequences.
I mean, rightfully so. Leave the puppies alone. And her puppies actually get a lot of focus later on, too. The texts mention these two famous hounds named Yama, which means the dark one, and Shurahara, the spotted one.
Right.
And they describe them with 4 eyes and broad noses.
Yeah, and their job is incredibly grim. They guard the path to Yama, the god of death.
That's intense.
It really is. In the mythology, when a person dies, their soul has to cross the Vaitarani River. It's this terrifying river that separates the living from the dead. And Shyama and Sharvara are just sitting on the banks, watching every single soul that tries to cross. They are literally the border guards of the afterlife.
If you think about how we use dogs today, that makes total sense. Like, we put up beware of dog signs on our front gates. We rely on them to guard the physical perimeter of a house.
Yeah, exactly.
So ancient people just kind of scaled that daily reality up. They took the animal that watched the edge of the campfire and put it at the very edge of existence. They imagined them guarding the ultimate border between the living and the dead.
Right. It's a completely natural progression. They guard physical borders, so of course they guard cosmic borders. But the texts eventually shift. They start showing dogs guarding psychological borders, too, Which kind of brings us back to that guy at the Kedarnath shrine.
Oh, right. The guy with the golden retriever.
Yeah. People usually assume dogs are kept out of mainstream temples because, they live on the street, rummage through garbage, and are physically unclean.
Wait, actually, look at this part of the notes here. It says it has nothing to do with physical dirt. It's totally about psychology. It's about what the dog represents in our heads.
Right, exactly. The physical dirt is just the surface excuse. The real issue underneath it all is attachment.
Yeah, there's this wild story in the sources about a king named Bhairava. He wants to achieve, ultimate spiritual enlightenment. So he gives up his kingdom, his wealth, his family. He strips everything away.
Just completely detaches.
Right. He goes to live in the forest as a hermit to completely detach from the material world. But while he's out there meditating, he finds this orphan baby deer.
Oh, no. I see where this is going.
Yeah. He takes it in, and he basically makes taking care of this deer his entire identity. He obsesses over it. He worries about it while he's supposed to be meditating.
You missed the whole point of going to the forest.
Totally. And the Hindi concept of karma and rebirth operates on a very specific mechanism. Whatever your mind is intensely fixed on at the exact moment of your death, that dictates your next life.
Right.
So Bhairava gets old, he's dying, and his final thought isn't about God or the universe. It's just absolute panic about who's going to feed his deer.
So he gets reborn as a deer.
Exactly. His consciousness was entirely trapped by that one lingering attachment. And the sources point out that the dog is basically the absolute ultimate symbol of that kind of clinging ego. Think about a poorly trained dog.
Yeah.
It constantly seeks validation.
Oh, yeah, jumping up on you.
Right. It whines when you ignore it. It needs you to constantly tell it that it's good. That constant need for approval, that anxious, clinging behavior, that is the human ego. And that is the exact psychological baggage you're supposed to leave at the door of the temple.
That is fascinating, and that connects perfectly to Kaal Bhairav.
Okay, who's that?
He's this terrifying, fierce manifestation of the god Shiva. His job is to guard the holy city of Kashi and basically rule over time itself.
Heavy job.
Very. And most gods ride these really majestic animals, right? Like Shiva rides a bull, Durga rides a lion. But Bhairava, he rides a black dog. His actual title is Shvashva, which means the one whose horse is a dog.
That feels like a super bizarre choice for a god of time and destruction.
It does, until you look at the mechanism of human behavior. Bhairava is basically mocking the territorial instinct.
How so?
Well, think about the last time someone corrected you at work. Or maybe they challenged your job title. You probably got immediately defensive, right?
Oh, for sure. Defensiveness is practically a reflex.
Exactly. Your heart rate spiked. You felt this deep need to protect your status. Humans mark our territory with bank accounts and resumes and titles.
Right? We just do it with paperwork.
Yeah. And dogs. Dogs mark their territory by literally peeing on it.
True. Very true.
They bark wildly at anything that approaches the fence, whether it's a burglar or just the mailman. Bhairava rides the dog to demonstrate something profound. He's showing us that our territorial clinging, our obsession with titles, our defensiveness, it's all just dog behavior.
Wow.
It's just basic animal instinct disguised as sophisticated human identity. You have to leash that instinct. You have to ride the dog, or the dog is going to ride you.
That is such a vivid image. So you don't bring a dog into a normal temple because you're supposed to be dropping that ego. But from what I'm reading, Bhairava's temples operate by totally different rules.
Oh, completely different.
The sources mention the Kaal Bhairav temple in Delhi. You walk in there, and you aren't offering pure milk or sweet flowers like you normally would. Devotees actively feed meat to live dogs that are just walking around the shrine.
Yeah.
And Bhairava himself is often worshipped with offerings of alcohol.
Which is brilliant because alcohol is the perfect offering for him. Think about what alcohol actually does to the human brain. It artificially inflates your sense of self-importance.
Right, the liquid courage.
Exactly. It lowers your inhibitions and makes you act aggressive, territorial, and loud. It basically mimics the unchecked ego perfectly. So you offer alcohol to Bhairava as a way of surrendering those toxic, intoxicating parts of your own mind.
That's crazy. The exact same animal getting kicked out of one shrine is literally the guest of honor at another. It entirely depends on whether you're trying to transcend the ego or actively do battle with it.
Right, and let's look at what happens when a human actually wins that battle. When you finally master the ego, the dog totally transforms in the mythology. It goes from this symbol of neediness into a symbol of ultimate wisdom.
Really?
Huh. Look at Dattatreya. He's this great wandering teacher who holds the combined essence of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. In classical art, he's always shown standing with a cow behind him and 4 dogs sitting at his feet.
Let me guess. Those aren't just random pets.
Definitely not. They represent the 4 Vedas.
Oh, wow. The Rig, Yajur, Sama, and Atharva Vedas.
Exactly. The absolute foundational texts of Hindu philosophy, literally embodied as dogs.
That's such a specific choice. Why dogs?
Well, think about a book. A book is static, it just sits on a shelf. But the Vedas, in this context, they're alive. In the art, these dogs walk just ahead of Dattatreya. They constantly look back to make sure he's still there.
Oh.
They don't need a leash. They aren't clinging out of anxiety. They follow him out of pure, attentive devotion.
You know what that reminds me of? Think of a modern police dog or a search and rescue dog.
Okay, yeah.
They don't just wander aimlessly. They use their senses to track down a person buried under a collapsed building. The dogs representing the Vedas operate the exact same way. They sniff out absolute truth in a world full of illusion. They track down the reality hidden beneath the surface of material life.
I love that analogy. They act as the ultimate guides. And that concept of the dog as a spiritual guide leads us to probably the most famous story in the entire Hindu epic tradition, the ending of the Mahabharata.
Oh, man. This story hits incredibly hard.
It really does.
So, the context is, this massive, devastating war is over. King Yudhishthira and his family decide to retire. They completely renounce their kingdom. They wear simple clothes, and they start climbing the Himalayas to physically ascend to heaven.
It's a brutal climb, just freezing cold.
Right. And one by one, his brothers and his wife just fall dead in the snow. They fail because of their own subtle psychological flaws. Things like pride, vanity, favoritism.
Right, the mountain tests them, and they all fail. Eventually, it's just Yudhishthira left. Oh, and a stray dog.
Right. This dog that started following him at the very base of the mountain. Everyone else failed the spiritual tests along the way. Only the king and this shivering stray dog keep walking.
Yeah.
So they finally reach the summit, the clouds part, and Lord Indra comes down in a golden chariot to take Yudhishthira to heaven. He tells him to climb in. But then Indra points at the stray dog and says, the dog can't come, leave it.
This is the ultimate trap.
It totally is.
Yeah.
But Yudhishthira flat out refuses. He looks at the king of the gods and just says, no. He argues that abandoning a creature that took shelter with him, a creature that trusted him when literally everyone else died, is a massive sin.
Yeah.
He is literally willing to give up eternal paradise and turn around just to stay with a stray dog.
And the second he refuses, the dog transforms.
Gives me chills.
Right. It wasn't a normal animal at all. It was Dharma, the god of righteousness and cosmic law. The dog was the final exam in disguise.
Yudhishthira realizes the dog was a literal universal law testing him.
Exactly. Because true righteousness isn't about following rigid, sterile rules of physical purity. It's about compassion. It's about protecting the vulnerable. If Yudhishthira lacked the basic empathy to save a freezing stray dog, he had absolutely no business entering heaven. The mechanism of Dharma requires unconditional compassion, not just ritual perfection.
That is just beautiful. So we've covered cosmic dogs, we've talked about psychological borders and epic mountain climbs. But I'm curious, how do these ancient philosophical epics translate to the actual streets of India and the world today? Like, how does this impact the real dogs running around right now?
The ancient philosophy is incredibly visible today. Like, take Nepal as a prime example. During the massive Tihar festival, the second day is entirely dedicated to dogs. It's called Kukur Tihar.
I've seen pictures of this.
It's amazing. Every dog, street dogs, police dogs, family pets gets worshipped. People put bright red tikas on their foreheads. They drape these beautiful flower garlands around their necks. And they feed them huge plates of meat, milk, and eggs.
They just treat them like absolute royalty for a day.
They do. And they do it because they remember the ancient lore. They remember that the dog is the messenger of Yama and the companion of Bhairava. To honor the dog is to physically honor the forces that guide us through life and after death.
And it's not just festivals either. The sources detail an actual dog temple in Karnataka.
Oh, right, in Agarhara Valagarhali.
Yeah, that's the village. They have a shrine with 2 stone dogs inside. The villagers literally worship them as guardian spirits to keep evil and disease away from the community.
And there's this brilliant intersection of astrology and animal welfare that happens every single week, too. In Hindu astrology, Saturday is governed by Shani, or Saturn.
Okay.
And Shani represents harsh life lessons, obstacles, and heavy karma. So to appease Shani, and also to please Kaal Bhairav, there's a really widespread custom of feeding black dogs on Saturdays.
Right. The sources say people bake specific foods for this. They give them roti smeared with mustard oil or jaggery.
Yeah. And regardless of whether you believe in the astrology or not, look at the practical, mechanical result. This ancient astrological belief quietly ensures that thousands of hungry, vulnerable street dogs get fed every single week.
That's amazing.
It literally bakes charity and compassion directly into the weekly routine of millions of people.
It turns abstract theology into a literal meal for a hungry animal. That reminds me of a really powerful story from the sources about Shirdi Sai Baba.
Oh, yes. He's an incredibly revered saint from recent history. Millions of people still follow his teachings today.
Right. And he had a very unique way of demonstrating spiritual concepts. So there was this woman who lived in his town of Shirdi. One afternoon, a stray dog came to her house looking totally miserable and hungry. She felt bad for it, so she fed it a piece of flatbread.
Just a simple act of kindness.
Exactly. Later that day, she goes to the temple to see Sai Baba. He looks right at her and says, "You fed me today."
And she probably had no idea what he was talking about.
None at all. She tells him, "How did I feed you? I'm poor. I don't have food to give a saint." And he tells her that he roams the earth in the form of dogs, pigs, flies. He explicitly says, "The dog which you saw before meals, and to which you gave the piece of bread, is one with me."
Wow. He's taking the core concept of Vedanta philosophy and making it incredibly practical.
How so?
Well, Vedanta teaches that the Atman, which is the divine spark, the pure consciousness of the universe, it isn't just in humans. It exists equally in every single living creature. A dog has the exact same divine spark as a human saint. So when that woman fed the starving dog, she wasn't just feeding an animal. The mechanism of her charity reached the divine itself.
That is so profound. And the sources even bring in modern psychology, which actually backs up the physical benefits of all this.
Yeah, the science is really cool.
Right. We talked earlier about how the dog represents the anxious, clinging ego. But the physical act of interacting with the dog literally alters our brain chemistry.
It creates a measurable biological shift.
Exactly. Petting a dog lowers cortisol.
Yeah.
That's the hormone your body pumps out when you're stressed, territorial, or defensive.
All that Bhairava ego stuff.
Exactly. And at the same time, it boosts oxytocin, the bonding hormone. The unconditional affection of a dog literally grounds the human nervous system. I mean, think about it. Your mind is racing. You're worrying about an email you sent yesterday or stressing about a meeting tomorrow. You pet your dog, and your nervous system is forced out of the past and the future. It drops you directly into the present moment.
Which is wild because you can spend decades meditating in a cave trying to pull your consciousness into the present moment. Or you sit on the floor and pet a dog.
Right.
Both paths demand the exact same thing. You have to drop your ego. The dog doesn't care about your resume. It doesn't care about your bank account. It just wants you to exist right there in the room with it. That's why it acts as such a powerful spiritual mirror.
So kind of bringing all these threads together for you listening, the dog in Hindu mythology really is the ultimate mirror for the human condition. It reflects our absolute worst traits, right? The needy ego, the territorial aggression, the attachments that trap our consciousness.
Yeah, it shows us the exact psychological baggage we have to conquer.
But at the same time, it also reflects our highest possible potentials. Unshakable loyalty, fierce protection of the vulnerable, unconditional presence. The dog operates as the border guard of the afterlife, the living embodiment of the Vedas, and the final test of dharma, all at the exact same time.
It totally forces you to reevaluate what you're actually looking at. And I think there's a crucial question you should take away from all this.
What's that?
Next time you're walking down the street and a stray dog crosses your path, or even tonight when your own dog is just staring at you from the rug, ask yourself, are you just looking at a simple, poorly trained animal? Or are you looking at a pop quiz from the universe, testing your capacity for compassion and presence right in that exact moment?
Are you going to pass the test like Yudhisthira did on the mountain? That is something to seriously think about next time you grab the leash. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.